our autumn PTSB Ideal Home Show video series, Meet the Experts, a 4-episode home inspiration and expert guidance series with special guests. Before we start the discussion, a quick reminder that the autumn show is on from Friday the 18th to Sunday the 20th of October at the RDS Simmonscourt. It promises to be a fantastic show packed with choice, expert advice and inspiration for your home. There's an early bird offer of free tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie. Today, I'd like to welcome our expert Lana Dullaghan, an artist and interior designer who recently launched her own home collection. Lana is here to discuss art, furnishings, interior design, and injecting colour into our homes and lives. Lana, you're so welcome here this morning, and I'm so looking forward to our conversation. You're going to bring a little bit of colour into our lives and homes this autumn. But before we talk about that, can you give viewers a little bit of an insight into you and the work that you do?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I am interior designer and artist for many years. And now I launched my own home collection, so I become a homeware designer too. So I'm so excited to do Ideal Home Show this autumn and meeting so many lovely people and sharing some color tips. As you know, I love color.
What inspired your home collection? Obviously, you've worked as an interior designer and artist. How did those two things come together to launch your own collection?
So for me, it's because I'm so creative and I love, I started as an interior designer only, and then I was hiding away as an artist for a good bit. And then, with encouragement of my clients and my friends, I launched my first art collection. So my art is focusing for home, and then when I design homes, I always see what's out there, what's not out there. So that's what inspired me to create my own collection. So first products, I decided to highlight the issue about Irish linen, that it's beautiful traditional textile, and unfortunately it's fading away. So I was dreaming about cushions for many years, collection of cushions, as you know. But then I was like, no, cushions have to wait. I have to highlight this beautiful sustainable fabric. Do you know that it was manufactured in here for many years, and now only few mills are left in Ireland. So I launched it a few months ago, and it was super successful. People just loved it, and the story behind it, And in some of my designs, I actually included Irish heritage, like Irish words or Ogham symbols, or elements from Irish mythology. Like I love Children of Lear and much more. I can't say too much because there is new designs are coming out. And so that was my biggest inspiration, really. I love when I design because I love color, and I love color psychology. So I love meaningful homes. So behind all my products, it's like meaningful, something meaningful, so colors that you like, furnishings that you like, linen that you like, something that makes you feel good, so that's always for me, and that's why I'm so driven to bring it out now, cushions. And they would be launched at the Ideal Home Show, my cushion collection.
So you talked there a little bit about having items that you love in your home, and really the message that you've always told me is that we should be feeling so happy in our homes, and colour plays such a part in that. But as Irish people, we can be a little bit afraid of colour. I can see your eyes widening. And obviously you're not afraid of colour. You're in this beautiful blush pink today, which you told me is one of your favourite colours at the moment. But for people who are really scared about injecting colour into their home, how can they start to bring in those little pops of colour?
So I always say, color, starting introducing color, it's like a muscle. So if you go for very bold, very vibrant color from beginning, you get scared and you would stop altogether. Start with soft colors like pastels or neutrals with color undertones. And that always helpful to build up, start as a beginning and then build up on it. So you could go shade darker next time and then shade darker, or that might be enough for you, you know. So for me, you know, a lot of people would have imagined that interior designer come into the home and say, use this color, this color, this color, you know. I love to connect with people and see what color are they feel comfortable with, but at the same time challenging yourself a bit more. So that's the biggest probably that I would say about color, you know. Another thing what you could do, you could kind of introduce color with furnishings, with artwork, you know, and build on it, you know. If you like the neutral walls, there is nothing wrong with that, you know. Go with neutral walls, then bringing in color some other way, you know, like with art, for instance. That's the best way to do, really.
I love that idea, because I think that's maybe what scares people. If they're going to make a big investment in painting their walls or getting, you know, a sofa in a very bright colour, they get a little bit frightened. So artwork can play a role in that. And what about other smaller items? Do you work with clients to help them bring in those little nuggets and build up that courage, I suppose?
Yeah, that's another way of doing it. But the biggest thing about this, you know, and this is very common. So people say, I would bring in a pop of color. So which way I would look at pop of color? It's pop of color has to compete with another color beside it. So start with pop of color could be pastels. Because if you go very neutral walls and then you have a very sharp, strong color, it would overtake the look, because color would always overtake. So think about all room together rather than one color alone, you know. So like if you like that navy, don't go white beside it, because navy would look even darker than it is, because it's going to contrast with the very bright wall, and this is very common. So like with open plan livings, you know, we go like for big islands. So sometimes I come into the homes and they feel like something is off, and like neutral walls, neutral kitchen, and then island maybe navy or very dark green. So what's happening then, when you come into the room, you would see this dominant color, you know. So try to think how to bring it in that color with something else. So if you like neutral walls, there's nothing wrong with that, but bring it in that navy, maybe in artwork a bit of color, and then a nice sofa, big, you know. So just balance in the room with the color. That's probably the biggest. Same applies to patterns. You know.
Yes, let's talk about patterns, because I know, again, that's something that people can be very nervous of. How do you help people introduce pattern into the home gently?
I know, I love patterns. You see, for me, the more I just get so excited, and I feel like it's not a part of me when I see 2-3 patterns, 4 together. But people get so nervous, and the same applies as with color. So if you have like one pattern and then everything else neutral, that pattern first of all would look lonely. So you need another pattern to compete with it. Do you know? So if you're nervous of pattern, bringing in 2 patterns, and the other could be neutral colors. Do you know? Or just plain colors, doesn't have to be neutrals. You know, but think about everything patterns as a color. So everything begins with color, and when you bring it in that pattern, think about what colors in it. Is it very busy? You know, so another pattern have to be slightly busier too, so it can compete. Yeah, so it's all about balance. The biggest thing is balance, you know.
And finding that balance, that when you come into a room, as you say, you really feel like it's beautiful and invigorating, but it's not an assault on the senses. Let's talk about colours and trends. I'm not sure how you feel about them. Do you think that people should look at trending colours and incorporate them, or is it more of a personal love of a colour that's important to look at?
So which way I look at trends, I wouldn't be very driven by trends, but I like to know about them. So I normally, when I design, and I always recommend to people, when you build up on big purchases like kitchens, sofas, go for colors that you like, and then bringing in trends in little amounts, so you can change them. Do you know? So like gray was big trend, so now it's become dated. Do you know? So if you go with like gray kitchens, gray sofas, now you like, I know clients like, oh, I want to change this gray, I had enough of gray, you know, and that's because they went for trendy color, you know. And I love like next season, next year is supposed to be burgundy, one of the, yeah, I know, I love burgundy. That was my last year color, obsession with color. And so that's why I was looking into it, because it's new inspiration. I see that's an inspiration, do you know? But I still go with furnishings or little things that are not expensive to change.
So little cushions,
yeah,
napkins, a lampshade.
Yeah.
You can touch on the trend without having to invest too much in it.
That's exactly, yeah. And that's what I always say about trends, because it's good to know about them. And it's like excitement. I see it as an inspiration for new ideas, but I wouldn't overdo with it, do you know? Same like for like trends about open plan livings. That's another thing that, it's very permanent. So when I hear open plan living and when people talk about trends, I'm like, open plan living, most of the time it's big purchases, so you have to be very careful what you go for, because as I said, it's good to know about them, but it's the best to go what you really like. For kitchen in particular, sofas, that would be the biggest purchases.
So it sounds like if people are either doing up a home or looking to refresh, it's really important to have a plan and to have, like you said, know what you're going to, invest in your colours, and then what's going to be maybe a little bit more pared back. Is that how you can help clients, Lana? Like when people come to you, how do you guide them through that process?
So I always say, over years, because like just same like my collection, like anything I would learn from experience when I learn from people, really, and I see what's the bigger issue that I always see it, and I always try to help them, that people have no plan what they're gonna do, and if you do one room, you can make a focus on that, but when you're doing 2 or more rooms, it can get, when it comes to furnishings, people are tired of decisions.
And overwhelmed, I'm sure. There's so many decisions to be made.
That's exactly. And then they just go for safe option.
So you come in, you have take some of the stress away from making those decisions,
that's exactly.
and give them the plan. The plan is so important.
Yeah, so I do normally an hourly consultation, and I meet before the project, and I always recommend to, even if you're thinking about contacting a designer, do it early, do an hour, just talk about overall project, and then you have an overall idea. So I always say to people, now create a folder of pictures that you like the most, and slowly make less and less of them, so you are more clear what style you like to be, and there is nothing wrong to have a true style. It's actually more personal. So you like that, create that folder and start looking at items that it's from that folder, so you have a bit of plan and you know that it's you, and then get involved with designer who can help you to bring it all together. So this is how you create a more personal design, So you're not going and choosing randomly because you're under pressure, you have to choose. You prepared, you did research, you know what you like, what you not like. Obviously, it's not always going to work, But if you spend a bit of time, it's actually very enjoyable. Sometimes even some man would enjoy too. So it doesn't have to be, I had clients who really, like a male, he really loves interior design. So why not go like a family trip together, and just make a plan and make what you like, even your own mood board. There is so many apps these days that you could just, Canva, you could just create your own little mood board, so
It's a great idea to invest that time in figuring out your personal style, because I think so many of us are just bombarded with Instagram inspiration, Pinterest inspiration, and like you said, it can be hard to figure out what your personal style is, so that's obviously where you come in. When it comes to the show this autumn, what are you most excited about? You're a PTSB Ideal Home Show veteran at this stage. You've been at many of the shows meeting people. What do you look forward to most?
For me, it's it's not even September. I'm like, oh my God, Ideal Home Show. It's nearly part of me. My creative friends would like, oh my God, of course you're going to do Ideal Home Show. I love it. It's so homely for me. But what I'm excited the most about, first of all, obviously, I'm going to launch my costumes collection and new artwork as well, and it would be more abstract focus for interiors. I always do for interiors, but this time I'm planning to do more abstract, focusing really on interiors and to connect with my costumes. And then I always love to meeting people. For me, this is Ideal Home Show, the biggest opportunity to meet people who actually love what I do and love to connect in and talk about homes, So it's like pure exposure to meeting people and chat to them about color and share my expertise, and share just, love for interiors and color. And for me, it's my passion, and this is for me, it's I love it. 3 days, imagine,
Well, you are the colour queen. We cannot wait to see you at the show in autumn. Lana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today. A big thank you to Lana for taking part in the PTSB Ideal Home Show Meet the Experts series and for her fabulous advice. We can't wait to see you at the show this year. You can meet Lana at Stand O10 to start your colour journey. Today's beautiful set was furnished by Diamond Furniture, who will have an extensive range at the show at Stand O10. A big thank you to Silk Prestige for providing the sustainable silk flowers. I can't wait to see you all at the DFS Interiors Theatre. I'll be there every day of the show interviewing a fantastic lineup of industry leaders and experts, including QS Patricia Power and Hugh Wallace. Topics will include interior design trends, decor, home makeovers, home extensions, upcycling, finance and loads more. And finally, don't forget there's an early bird offer of free tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie.